This week's been a massive week for me. I had a, you guys will know what I'm talking about, I had a do-it-yourself weekend. You know what I mean by do-it-yourself? Like, you know, every time I ask my wife to help me with something, she goes, piss off, do it yourself, you know? That was my weekend, right? So she sent me off to what I think is a business that probably manipulates you more than any other business, right? She sent me to IKEA. Yeah, we've got a couple of IKEA fans. You know what IKEA stands for, don't you? Yeah, it stands for I can't exit anywhere. Have we got any Aldi fans here? Talking businesses. Aldi. How about Aldi? I was in Aldi the other day, right? I just needed some toilet paper, a pinball machine and a stethoscope. How about that place? You know what confuses me with Aldi? You don't know what you can buy and what has to stay in the store. It's confusing. I was halfway home with a fire hydrant and a skylight. It called me back, it started raining. It's like, oh. Bunnings, right? Bunnings. I told you I've done research on businesses. You guys are going to be thinking about businesses all week. Bunnings. How crazy is that place? Massive. Is it going to get any bigger? They keep building them bigger and bigger. I was in there the other day for an hour. Couldn't find a staff member anywhere. So I built one. I said to the guy, right, where are the 1/4-inch hex screws? He goes, mate, how would I know? It's my first day. Touche. But no one speaks French in Bunnings, so touche was lost on me. How good is that French language? Seriously, of all the languages in the world, French is the sexiest language of all. I'm digressing here, but I have to mention, I was thinking about this the other day, it doesn't matter what you say in French, right? It always sounds sexy, doesn't it? Like German, doesn't matter what you say, it sounds like you want to kill someone. It does. French is the sexiest language I've ever heard. I'll give you an example, right? Where's the lady? There's too many blokes, and here we go. Lady. Okay. Tu es la plus jolie fille que j'ai jamais vue dans toute ma vie. Even he wants to have sex with me. Look, there's a spread. There's a massive... I don't do beards, but otherwise, it's a massive spread. What do you reckon? It's... Oh, there's the classic one. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? I mean, it's better than do you want a root, isn't it? It is. It is. I'm happy to... Oh, we've got a chicken in the room in the corner. Careful, table 5. Look at that. No, it's true, it's true. Okay, ready? You'll like this one, right? This is true, I speak a little bit of French, right? Let me give you one, right? This is something you can only say in French. Je viens de faire un énorme chier sur votre tapis oriental au mur. Isn't that sexy? That means I just squeezed out a giant shit on your oriental wall. Go the French! They're good, aren't they? Who's got kids here? Just raise your hand if you've got kids. Okay, beautiful. Well, I don't know if you've got kids, but it's at the age of my child. Sadie is 1.5, and her favourite pastime is just screaming at the top of her lungs. Okay, I have to do everything with earmuffs on, you know. And I said to a mate of mine, you've got to find the right advice. I said to a friend of mine, Steve. Steve's got 6 kids under the age of, I don't know, 4. I don't know whatever's humanly possible. He's got 1 million kids. The best bit about Steve is he's great with advice. He's really good with advice. And I said, Steve, can you give me some advice, man? What, you know, how do I stop my kids screaming? And he gave me the best bit of advice. And I know you're at conferences to get ideas and things. Here we go. He said, some of you probably know this, but if you don't have kids, listen up, right? He said, you get in the car and you just literally drive around the block, and it's incredible how it stops the screaming. And it was incredible, it stopped screaming straight away, right? But let me tell you, then the guilt kicks in, and I'm thinking, shit, I've left her at home on her own. Then there's my son Felix. Do you know, the thing about my son, or about any kids, and parents again, you'll be nodding away. Isn't it incredible how you could have a boss tell you that you are the best employee? You could have someone on the street say, I love your shoes, I love the way you look, I love your dress, whatever. That's great, when adults give you compliments. But when your child just can suddenly say something to you that can change you, you can have had the worst day and suddenly your child will say something to you, just something small, and it can be incredible. I had this experience recently, right? My Felix and I were having a shower together. He's 16. Sorry, he's 3. We were having a shower together, and he did the most innocent thing. He just looked down at himself, and then he looked up there, and he went, oh. He went, wow, Daddy, your penis is so much bigger than mine. Yeah, so that's my point. So sometimes they just do things that are incredible. You know, is it true that you never forget when your first child is born? Did anyone agree with that? You never forget when your first child was born? I had that experience, and it was incredible in the hospital. It was amazing. In fact, I haven't really shared this a lot because it's quite emotional. In actual fact, I nearly lost my wife and my son because it was a massive hospital, and I'd gone for a coffee. I've come back, and they're gone. So I'm standing there outside these lifts and just can't find my family. And then all of a sudden this guy comes with green jumpsuit, head to toe, gloves, the mask. I thought, okay, here we go, we're a chance. So before I could say anything, he said, Mr. Cameron, would you like to see your wife giving birth? What kind of question is that? I said, of course, I'd like to see my wife giving birth. And he said, all right then, we're going to go into the theatre. You better scrub up. I said, you don't look so good yourself. I was panicking at this point, right? He takes me into theatre. The first thing I see, we open the door, there's people everywhere. There's my wife's legs spread out like that. I thought, oh, thank God, some familiarity here. Here she is. You know, she's motioned me over. She's gone, you know, come over. So, you know. Anyway, I'm standing there, and it all happened so fast. Before I knew it, all of a sudden, just out pops my child, right? It was an incredible moment. It was a Caesar, so it was just, well, it was more like, and then, anyway, the point is, no, if you can't handle it, don't have kids. It was more like that. Anyway, it's okay, Ken, take it easy, put it away. Anyway, so, this moment, and at that moment, the doctor hands me my son. And I nearly dropped him because he was a little bit gooey. And I just held him up, and I was trying to say I was on another planet completely. And I don't remember much of what I said, but I do remember this. I just turned to him and I panicked because I'm starting to assess whether my child has all the right bits. Why would you do that? Be happy with what you get? No, I needed a perfect child at that moment. Ridiculous. I looked at him and I said, how come he's only got one eye? What a stupid thing to say. How come he's only got one eye? And I'll never forget what the doctor said. What a professional. He looks at me and goes, Mr. Cameron, you're holding him upside down. I was shaking. I said, what happens now? He goes, you put him under the heat lamp and you can cut the cord. I said, no way, I'll electrocute myself. So anyway, now I've got my two kids, and I'm very excited to be here because to go anywhere, I need to get a babysitter. Do you know what I mean? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? If I want to go anywhere, I need to get a babysitter. People say, why? I say, because they're good company. Sorry, that's a terrible gag. That's a really bad gag. I do apologise. But seriously, when I get home, I'm met by the babysitter, right? Well, I had a bit of a problem recently. I forgot to tell the babysitter one of the most important things I should have told him. And that is that Felix loves to have nudie time. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Nudie time. Between 5:40 and about 6:10. That's his opportunity to just get his gear off and hasn't got a lot, but works what he has. You know what I'm saying? Just goes absolutely crazy. Okay, so I get home and I've forgotten to tell the girl this. So I get to the door, I open the girl, and there's Brit. Open the girl. That is a Freudian slap, if ever there was one. Sorry about that. That's the last time I get my teeth from Tobin Brothers. For the Victorians. I open the door, and there she is looking at me, and she has this horrible-looking face. No, she's a good-looking girl, but she's just... I'm doing well here. She just looks terrible. She's looking at me, and she's quivering. And she said, Mr. Cameron, Felix did a poo on the couch. And I had that dreadful moment where I was trying to do empathy. I was desperately trying to do empathy. But all that came out was just this pride. This incredible pride. I mean, think about it. Aren't kids incredible? He saw me do that once.